And welcome to the Liquid Choices podcast, the podcast where we aim to elevate each other by talking about various different things that affect us in life and how we can overcome them. So, today I welcome back someone who is a very good friend of mine, whom I love to bits, who, you know, is someone we've had on before. He is George Barnard, a legend in
Hello,
his own
buddy.
right. Say hello. Sorry, George.
Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm very well, my darling. How are you?
I am buzzing to be back.
Mm.
We've got some things to talk about, haven't we? It's been a busy week.
It's been, yeah, George has had. So, the reason why I've got George on is A, because I love him and I miss him and I like to speak to him.
Back
But
at you.
thank you, mate. And also because George and I have both been through some upheavals recently. But I'm going to give this one over to George, really, just to explain his situation, what's gone on, and what's changed for him. So, George, when you're ready, buddy.
So basically, for those of you that don't know, I've said this in previous podcasts I've done on here. I've got cerebral palsy and I'm severely dyslexic. I'm also
Go.
obsessed with football. Shut up. Also obsessed with football. So that has meant I've done a degree in football coaching and started a master's in football business. Now, the obvious word there is started because I started in the summer, or the academic year is September, October, whatever you want to call it. And in the last few days, I've decided to leave that course because for various different reasons, it wasn't for me. I was really struggling with mental health. Due to this course, the workload for someone in my position with my processing issues and dyslexia and stuff like that, it wasn't compatible with me. So I've decided to try something else.
Well, George, I, for one, am proud of you for this decision because sometimes it's very, very difficult to walk away from things, especially when there's like family expectation and stuff around doing things. And I'm not saying that anyone in your family is
There
putting.
isn't family expectations, there's my own expectations. I'm my own worst critic in terms of I expect the best from everyone, so then I expect the same effort from myself.
It's
So
interesting, mate. Yeah, and I totally agree with you. Like, I think and that's the right way to be because I'm very similar. It does lead to a lifetime of disappointment, though, doesn't it? Because people ultimately don't
I
live
mean,
up
we're
to
West
your.
Ham fans, we're fucking used to that.
I know, but I know what you mean. Yeah, okay. So no, I wasn't like suggesting, George, that like your parents putting a pressure on you or anything. But you know what it's like. You kind of feel like, oh, everyone wants me to do this thing, or they push me towards it because you've wanted to do it, and then you don't do it. So I'm in a lot of ways like proud of you because there's a few things that I want to talk about. One, you like your mental health, which like I think all human beings in the world goes up and goes down. Um, and I think you have it possibly, I'm not going to say worse or better than anyone else, but I would suggest probably worse because of the challenges you face. So I think protecting your mental health is key, isn't it, mate? Really?
Oh, of course it is, mate. End of the day, if your head isn't right, I don't care what walk of life you're in, whether you're a footballer, whether you're a businessman, or whether you sell hot dogs at football games or whatever, yeah. If your mental health ain't there, you're not going to give the best of your job. You're not going to be happy in what you're doing. And you can say, oh, you're not always going to be happy. And you're right. You're never always going to be happy. It's not what life is about. Life is about ups and downs. But if you can do something to make yourself happier, then do it.
I think that's a very wise way to put it, George. And I think that you're right. And I think happiness is absolutely key. And I mean, when I had Skylar, my first child, she had to go to grammar school because that's what we all wanted. She went to grammar school and hated it. I mean, she's currently in the process of destroying her life at the comprehensive school. But that's an aside. The point that I'm trying to make is that really education and the sort of pursuit of academia, I think, is a bit of an illusion designed to keep you in debt and designed to keep you away from what's really important, which is kind of enjoying yourself, like functioning as a human and attaining something that makes you personally happy. Do you know what I
In,
mean?
in my personal experience, it's not. The reason that I did academia wasn't, no one in my family before me had gone to university. I've got my undergraduate degree. I was the first one in my family in generations of generations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To go to university. Yeah. Like I said, it come from me. It was a chip on my shoulder of I'm disabled, I'm dyslexic, but
Yeah.
fuck you, I'm still gonna get there.
And I think your ability to be honest, mate, is a good thing, really, because I think, yeah, but I think like ultimately it's not worth it, because if it's going to make you unhappy, it's not worth it. And I want to take it back a little bit to the education system in general, and it's fine for you, like,
It's funny you mentioned that because
go
that's
on.
one of the main reasons I left. But yeah, go on, crack on.
Well, no, I think maybe you tell me what you said about what you were going to say about it. Do you remember?
So, for those of you that don't know, if you don't deal with disability in education, there's something called the DSA, the Disabled Student Allowance, who are a branch of the educational side of the government, who basically deal with any requirements disabled students, whether it be mental or physical, may have. Um, and all right, some of them were my mistakes, some of them were their mistakes. But the thing that I found more frustrating was the time in which a decision was made. I'm genuinely talking weeks. I started this process in July, and we're now in mid-November, and it still hasn't been sorted.
Well, this is, yeah. I mean, it doesn't surprise me because it's a branch of the government, isn't it?
Yeah, but
And
no, it's not even that. You've worked in education, you know what it's like.
I know
You've
what
worked.
it's like, but I also know what councils are like. I mean, like, it's a total joke, like trying to get anything passed through. And I'm sympathetic because obviously the people that work there are probably nice people and they're probably doing their best, but the system is broken, right?
Yeah,
Because it doesn't work.
it's not those individual people's fault. They're doing their job. They're doing what they're paid for. The system is set up for them to fail people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I think you're right. I think that's a really,
That's
yeah,
just my opinion anyway. Just for
yeah,
the
yeah. Because fundamentally, they don't want to give you the money, and fundamentally, they don't want to. Yeah, yeah. It's kind of, yeah. The system is kind of rigged against certain people and stuff. I totally agree with that. Taking it back to, I was going to get a bit deep about the education system. And I hated it at school because I went to a boys' grammar school, and it was
explains a lot.
what exactly? It sort of shaped me, for better or for worse. A lot of lads with like briefcases and side partings and very, oh hello, that sort of type. But then also a lot of reprobates like me who were probably all ADHD and were bright but difficult. And fundamentally it didn't work for me, and so I've always been a bit negative about education. But I've been doing a lot of research recently because I'm writing a new book, and the new book, it has got a lot about how the education system started, and really it was started by the Freemasons, who I believe have gone on to essentially get their arms and fingers and whatever other bits of their body into everything in the world, control of everything. Yeah. So, like, people are like, oh, Russia's this, China's that, America's that. No, no, no. The people who really run things, they work for all of them,
So
right?
it's an Illuminati, basically.
Essentially that is what people call them, yeah. And like, you can call them what you want, but they like, at the end of the day, no one's ever going to find them, no one's ever really going to know. The Rothschilds, and there's 13 families who essentially run the main thing, the Rockefellers, people like that. But ultimately the Masons created the schooling system, right? Because they wanted a way to ensure that the young people became prepared for the world of work, that essentially they didn't learn anything about themselves or how to develop their knowledge or develop their futures or be happy and comfortable with themselves. And ultimately, if you look at it like that, I think that they've absolutely got what they manifested. School is a breeding ground to teach you how to be compliant, robotic, go into your 9 to 5 job. And I would say that about all of the education system. It
I
doesn't.
would say 60 to 16, I'd agree, but university, my master's definitely, I would disagree slightly. Like one of my units I've been doing is leadership, and it's learning about ourselves and what kind of leaders we are. So there
Yeah.
has definitely been that personal development in this. up to that in terms of the style they teach and the way they want you to be there Monday to Friday, and you go this and you do that. That I'd agree with, but I think, especially at the higher levels of education, so your masters, your doctorate, something like that, I wouldn't particularly go along with that
No,
entirely.
no. You're right, and I mean, sort of like I think it's 11 to 18, and what you learn in school and college. Because actually, I would argue that none of it's worthwhile. Like I did English to degree level, and I enjoyed it, but like, you know, how many times have I had to dissect a poem in my life?
Yeah,
You know,
no, really, it always makes me laugh. And I come back to the age-old point of teachers when I was at school, probably the same for you, mate. Were like, okay, you're never gonna have a calculator in your pocket. Well, we fucking do, don't we?
Yeah, it's stupid, man. Like I just maths in particular. So there's a lot of things about sacred geometry and stuff which are mathematical that people should learn, and numerology which people should learn about, because if you learn about numerology, you learn about stocks and shares. You'd learn about how the Fibonacci sequence works and how money basically revolves in a cycle. But obviously, they don't want to teach you that because then it's giving you power. So what you learn about is fucking Pythagoras's theorem, which again I've never used in my life.
Oh yeah, I've never used it since and never want to use it since.
No, and it's just I again it's the same situation whereby I used to be a teacher. I'm not criticizing teachers. There are a lot of lovely teachers who put their heart and soul into helping people, and they finish the day exhausted. And I have love and respect for all of those people.
Exactly.
However,
Yeah.
the
I think
curriculum,
that needs to be said. But first of all, that needs to be said. Like I've met some amazing teachers. Me being
yeah,
disabled, I need more help than the majority of students. And I've met some amazing teachers, both in the classroom and support staff. Like there was a lady at my primary school. Her name was Mrs. Chamberlain, and I'm still friends with her now. Like
good.
she's one of my closest friends. I basically see her as another grandmother.
Yeah, you got a photo of her, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've
So
seen it.
literally,
Yeah, it's behind you, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's
We
good,
are
mate.
very close still. We have been since I was 4 years old. So it's not the people that
No.
do the day-to-day jobs we're having a go at. It's the system that is
Yes.
the issue.
The system is the issue, George, because people are, I mean, my belief is people are inherently good. People are trying to do their best and they're trying to cope with all the odds stacked against them, right?
Especially
However,
budget-wise at the minute as well. With
mm,
everything, money is becoming more and more stretched.
exactly, mate. And everyone's skin, and it's really hard. So, yeah, I am getting back to the point. Like, I am, yeah, I think you've done the right thing. I think I do agree with you, actually. Sort of degree level stuff and so on can be really helpful and supportive. But the fundamentals of what you learn in school are largely useless and pointless, and also questionable. Like some of the stuff that my daughter's learning at the ages she's learning, you think, I don't think she needs to know about blowjobs really massively. Like, but then this is kind of the
Mm,
shit that they're going on about, and I just think I don't know, man. Like, so yeah, so I'm a bit negative about it. I think you've done the right thing. Another thing, you just on this subject, George, you talked about pigeonholing, didn't you?
yeah.
Did you,
Um,
did you? Yeah, go on.
so pigeonholing is pretty much you're being typecast or something. You see it with actors quite a lot. So Jason Statham,
Mm,
the old actor,
yeah,
he's very much a action film. Same as Daniel Craig, he's an action actor. Same as Liam Neeson, he's again the same kind of thing. People can get typecast in roles, but they can also get typecast in life.
yes,
I mean, so Alex Ferguson, when he retired, I don't particularly like the way he led. We've done a podcast on my opinions on him on my podcast,
mm,
and you know my feelings towards him. But he said in his book, he goes, "If I retire at 71, I'm still young enough to go and do the things I really want to do." Because he was doing that job for 26 years, non-stop, every day
yeah,
of his life. And you do get typecast, I can't do anything else. You can. This me leaving my degree this week is proving you can. I had my heart set on a career in football. And all right, will I still have things to do with football? Of course I will. I want to grow my own business, and it's based around talking football pretty much.
yeah.
But it doesn't mean I'm going to be typecasting going into business or just doing a podcast. I'm going to do as many things as I can to make a career and a life that I enjoy.
And that's the spirit, George, because you are not part of the system. So this is why I think A, we get on, but B, you're it's a very progressive attitude and a very modern attitude. And I think a lot of people are going out there and making money from various income streams, whether it's YouTube, whether it's TikTok, whether it's this and that and so on. And the days of kind of having one job. And one, and to be honest, mate, I wish, like, I, in some respects, my parents had said to me, don't go to grammar school because basically you don't fit in, and learn a trade, and I probably would have been fine. Like, if I don't know, maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't, but fundamentally, that there's nothing wrong with that, and I've got a lot of respect for that, and so on. However, there are some people who just don't fit into categories, like you say, and make their income from a variety of different streams. And I think you're going to be that type of person, mate. And it does mean a lot of stress. Being self-employed is hard, like the accounting, the VAT, all that bollocks. The fact that you don't never really get a day off. But it does give you freedom. It gives you freedom. It means you don't actually have to answer to a boss who you may or may not like or loathe. And it generates, I think, a happiness because you're using the right side of the brain, whereas a lot of people are forced, and like I say, I go into London when I do, and I walk around, and so you look at people and they generally look like they've got the ump. And
Yeah.
you think,
Do,
like,
do you know, do you know what was interesting? Yeah. So, my good friend Megan, yeah,
yeah, I
she's
do,
from
yeah.
Newcastle. She come down last week to see me as part of my birthday present, which was a few weeks back. And she got the train down, coach down to London to see me, and then got the underground to meet me because one of the stations wasn't wheelchair friendly. But she said people just cut you off and they look like they're angry and look like they're sad all the time. Whereas in Newcastle, everyone says like good morning, and it's just like people are sad because they're working for someone else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what it is. And that's something that you've taught me. Like, it's taken me a while to get my head around it, but you've taught me this in terms of I look at you in terms of you do what you enjoy doing. You're doing your alcohol-free business. You're doing your books. You're doing what you enjoy doing. And look at what I'm doing now. I'm going to go and hopefully work for myself. I, I might have to get a job in the meantime in terms of to get some money in and then build it from there. But the long-term vision is to do this book that me and you are doing at the minute, to do my YouTube and to do a couple of other things and kind of make myself the project rather than working a project for someone else.
Yeah, and George, I think that's such a progressive attitude, and I think it's so good. And I think that, yeah, maybe if you need to get a job, get a job. But what would be a better investment would be to learn how to do, say, Amazon ads, and how to promote your Kindle book, and like watch like endless YouTube videos on that, because that's why I don't have time to do that sort of stuff. But if there are people making seven figures a year writing their own Amazon books, and you can do it, and like it is possible. It's not a pipe dream. It's just a case of understanding the algorithms and understanding how it works. And I think there's a lot to be said for, for investing in yourself, because all the a fundamental fact of life is we've been taught by the system to look for things externally. So people go to church and they look for God externally. People go to work and they answer to an external boss. They think they're going to get happiness from this relationship or that relationship, or going to that concert, or drinking alcohol, or taking drugs. And actually, when you boil it down, like, all of that is distraction. And I know this for a fact, right? Because I've been doing a lot of work and a lot of reading about it. What is important is working on what is inside of you. And, essentially, you've got a system whereby you're putting terrible food into your system, you're putting terrible drinks into your system, and so on, and then wondering why you're feeling like shit. And then, like, this is the thing. So, like,
Yeah,
so,
no
so,
comment.
but that is the society. That is what it's very, very hard to fight against the stream of, oh, we might as well just go to McDonald's, it's simple and
It's
easy.
normalism.
Yeah, yeah,
It's very normalized now. It's been normalized
of course it has. It's mainstream, but why, George? There's obviously a reason why they want this.
because it makes money and it keeps you in line. Simple as that.
Yes, George, that's exactly it. So what you need to do is continue to be disruptive by doing your own thing. And I think what I would just advise is, like, I don't know about you, but sometimes when I'm in a situation, they call it the fertile void, George, where you're like in a situation where you don't know which direction you're going to go in, and there's lots of different opportunities for you. Is try not to get anxious about it, and try and just sit and chill and think on your own, like in a room, and just go, what is it that drives me? Because it's taken me a long time to get to where I am, and I'm not out of the woods 100% yet. I'm not lining up the next yacht, you know what I mean, in the south of France.
Why
But
not?
I know, yeah, maybe next year. But the point is that I am very secure and happy because I am finally doing what I want, and I can do that. So that's good. And I think it's really, really important for people to realise that there is a mindset and an attitude and a way out of um, just working for the man. It's not impossible to do, you know. So it just takes time and planning. And it's that thing Joe Rogan said, wasn't it? Like, I don't know if you've seen it on his thingy on his podcast, where he's like, you know, he was doing a shit job that he hated, 9 to 5, and then he basically spent every minute of every hour outside of it working on the thing that he wanted to do, which was his comedy and his podcast. And eventually, with the right energy flowing to the right things, you will get there, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I don't really follow UFC, but I believe he was a commentator at UFC or a
Yeah.
multi-billion pound business. You know what I mean? Like, if you have more energy to put into things you want to do, yes, in the short term, it's going to be shit. You're going to doubt yourself. You're going to think, where's the money coming from? You're going to think, what am I doing? You're going to get laughed at by people that don't understand it.
Yes.
I see you're now, what, a year into this alcohol-free business? Maybe I'm
Yeah.
wrong. Maybe a
Maybe.
little bit
Yeah.
more, a little bit less, or whatever. But you're now reaping those rewards. You're going to all these expos. You've been to America recently. You've been doing all these things, and you just like you ain't done it for no one else but you and your family.
Well, I have, and I think that there is an element of if you do it for the right reasons and you trust in it and you trust in the process and you will it to be okay, it will generally be okay. Because, you know, if you're good and you're doing things for the right reasons, then generally things fall into place for you. That is my experience. And people call that different things. People call it manifesting, people call it the universe, people call it praying to God, or whatever it is. It doesn't really matter to me what it is. But fundamentally, like, things for whatever reason, you know, we're not on the streets at this stage, so that's a positive thing. And so I thank whatever it is, God, whatever, to for, you know, for that, for, you know, for the fact that we're not. But yeah, I do think that it takes it, you know, the film The Matrix.
Never seen it, but I know what
Oh
it
my
is.
God, George, that's your homework, mate.
Well, if I'm old, I'm not old like you. Leave it out.
George, if you do one thing for me, do that. Just watch The Matrix. The Matrix is like a documentary of what life is really like. And there's a point where you have to take a red pill or a blue pill, right? And
Oh, is
like,
that where that comes from? I see it on Facebook all the time.
yes, yeah. So the red pill and the blue pill, it's like you can stay in the imaginary matrixy world and never know what's actually out there and the reality of your existence if you take the red pill, or you can come out and you can find what's real and what's true. And that's what it's like, man. You've got the option. I think people would rather stay in the matrix and like go to their 9 to 5 jobs and still moan about everything and never quite have enough money, because it's what they know and it's what they're used to. Whereas, like, you know, to come out of it, it's like to stop university for you. It's hard. It's a difficult decision to make, but
Mate, I'll
it's
be
what you
honest with you. I come home yesterday. I didn't want to say it publicly to mum and dad because I think my mum worries about me enough as it is.
yeah.
Obviously, raising a disabled son, she worries enough as it is. She didn't need the extra worry. But I come home yesterday and I was thinking, what the fuck am I gonna do?
Mm.
What am I actually gonna do? All right, you can have till Christmas off, or you're going to write your book, or you're going to do this, you're going to do that. But ultimately, in the short term, you've got no money coming in. So you've got to get a job. And it's like, but then I woke up this morning and I was thinking, I've got no stresses for the minute. I can spend the
Yeah.
next 6 weeks just doing this work, just doing this, just doing that, building myself up. And then when I go in January and get a job that's going to be part time whilst I try and build myself up as the business, it's going to be amazing. I genuinely woke up this morning with a new lease on life.
Yeah. Exactly, mate. Exactly. And that's good. And that's how you should keep it, because it's a great thing. And I think freedom is one of the hardest things to come by, and you've got it there, which is amazing. George, I want to talk about something slightly different, mate. We both seem to be in a good place at the moment, but we haven't always been in a good place. And I think I talked in one of my recent podcasts, which is named The Great American Moan, if anyone wants to go and listen to it, where I basically sort of moaned my way through my trip to America, which was very enjoyable in a lot of ways. But I just got hit with this searing depression, and I realised that it wasn't really for me, the place and stuff, and the
Can
culture.
you explain what you were doing in America? Because I've got a couple of questions about this before we go on to what you were going to ask about.
Sure, sure. It depends who's asking, George. If it's the tax man, it was a business trip. But if it's no, I was serious that I went to see U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas. So basically, without boring any non-U2 fans out there, fundamentally
Me.
they've yeah, well they've built this purpose-built spherical venue, right? That
Yeah,
holds
I've seen
18,000
it.
people, right? So it's this is the first venue that is purpose-built for arts and music, right? And so, because you two are the greatest band in the history of music,
Oh,
they were
shut up.
they were
Oh,
invited
go on. I'm
they were
leaving.
they were invited to do the first live shows, which are just extended now into next year. I may go again. However, the cut a long story short, as an avid U2 fan who's seen them in different parts of the globe, I couldn't miss it because actually they're doing it's Arctic Baby, which is my favorite album. Of theirs in its entirety. So it's incredibly geeky, but that's why I went.
Yeah, cool.
But you asked, so I'm telling you.
Yeah. No, but you were saying you were feeling like you were
Yeah,
feeling down about
down.
it and stuff.
What? And you're saying like why?
Yeah, pretty much. It was
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think I don't. And this is the thing about depression, which we need to discuss. We don't really know, do we? But I think I felt very disconnected from American culture because I don't really drink anymore. I don't gamble. Well, I don't not gamble. I will gamble, and I did gamble a bit, but I think I only lost $100, $50. It wasn't a lot, but yeah, yeah. So there was those things. I found that American culture was very much geared on taking your money more so than ours, which is remarkable, really. But you know, is a Western thing. But everything is it's less regulated in America. So like, there's just adverts everywhere of, you know, we can give you this, we can take that, and then obviously the fast food is better. So like, you've got Jack in the Box and Denny's and so on. And as much as that stuff is absolutely delicious, I lived on it because obviously I was in America, and I think it makes you depressed. I think eating shit food all the
Mate, of
time is not.
course it does.
Yeah, it's not good for your
This
system.
was going to be my point. So, I mean, you know what my head's been like the last couple of months or whatever. And my head, for those of you that don't know, has been a complete fucking mess. Um, so I now realise that I was suffering from something
Yeah,
called, I think it's called passive suicidal ideation.
yeah, man.
So when you're not actually trying to kill yourself, but if something happened, you wouldn't really give two shits.
But
And
hang on, George, stop there because you said that to me earlier, right? So passive suicidal ideation. When you say I wouldn't. If something happened, I wouldn't give two shits.
like, say if I crossed the road and
Explain.
if I got run over by a car crossing the road, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't give a shit.
So you
But
wouldn't, yeah. So you're not actively trying to save
I
your
wouldn't,
life.
yeah, I wouldn't like. No, it's not quite that. It's like I wouldn't quite hang myself because
Mm,
it's
mm,
never got to that point. But it's if I was crossing the road and a car on a red light and I got hit and it wasn't my fault and it was all on them, I wouldn't give a shit. But
yeah,
that is what I now realize I've been having. And a lot of that comes down to my diet and my way of life because I've suffered with weight gain and weight loss through my. I've lost quite a lot of weight this second half of this year, but I put a bit on recently. But it's because I've been getting stressed over uni that my comfort tool is eating. So it's chocolate, it's crisps,
yeah.
and but when I was in a good mental space over the summer, I lost nearly 2 stone.
You always, firstly, you always look beautiful to me, George. However,
Love you, bro.
getting back to the point, yeah, like, but this is the trap. This is the system again, and I don't want to go too far down my like crazy mental, what people call conspiracy theories, but I
I'm
call
here for it, by
alternative.
the way. I'm here for it.
Okay. Well,
That's why I'm
basically,
here.
it's part of the trap and part of the system, George. They make the food so fucking tasty, like fucking Pringles. Like, I can't stop eating Pringles and like all this other shit that you eat because it is killing you. Because ultimately they want to kill you. Ultimately, the NHS is not there to save you. That again, lovely people working for the NHS, they're brilliant and so on. But if you
They think
read
they're doing the right thing,
of course
which
they
is
do,
why I love it.
and they are in a lot of cases when they're delivering babies and they're saving people's lives. They're 100% doing the right thing. But the medical companies, big pharma, whatever behind that, really want you sick and want you on long-term medication.
Because it gets the money.
Yes,
If you look at COVID, the taxpayers paid for all of these things to do with PPE and vaccines and stuff. And who took the money? Not
Exactly.
us. It was
Yeah.
the pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah. George,
You know, I
yeah.
never thought of it like that before until I heard Russell Brand say it on True Geordie's podcast.
It's
Yeah.
so
And
true.
it's bang on. It's
It's
bang
bang on.
on.
It's bang on. It's bang on. And if you do more research into that, a lot of people who own their own businesses, people, I don't know, like your dad, not your dad, but people like your dad who've worked their whole life to create something, a lot of those businesses went out of business. And who took their business? The big boys, Amazon, Microsoft, people like that. So the only people who got richer out of COVID were the fucking big boys who are all basically part of the
Already
Illuminati.
rich. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're all in the same fucking gang.
It's
They're all in the
capitalism, basically.
well, no, because capitalism is supposed to be fair and equal, and if you work hard and you do well, and you should be allowed to survive. But
So
COVID
it's
was a
quote
means.
unquote, it's like the American dream, pretty much.
Yeah, of course. But that's the whole point. The whole point of the American dream is to lure individuals like you and me to America from Europe to go, look, we're going to give you this amount of land. You're going to get a cow. You're going to get a house. If you work hard, you're going to have this amount of money. You'll be able to have a wife. You'll be able to this. And everyone was like, sweet, bro. We haven't got those chances over here. So we're going to do that. And it's fair, George. That's the whole point. But what has happened to the system now is it's not fair. And that the average normal person like you and I can be shafted in a heartbeat because basically, like you say, COVID happens and your business goes bankrupt. It's think of all the people. Imagine like people. I dissolved my bar just before COVID, which is an absolute touch, but it was luck, really, more than anything else. But imagine if I had spent like all of my life savings and remortgaged my house and all that sort of stuff to create this beautiful bar that everyone's going to love, and then it was shut for 2 years, and so I went bankrupt and lost all my money. That's what happened to a lot of people.
It's the same with university. Since I did my undergraduate during my second half of my foundation year was when COVID first started, so March 2020. That was my foundation year. My first year was completely online, and parts of my second year were online. Not many, but there was certain bits online. And it's just like I've paid all this money
Yeah.
to do this course. They said that they were going to put me through my coaching badges, which is level 1 and level 2. So basically, if you don't know what coaching badges are, you need them to become a football manager. So it's level 1, level 2, UEFA, or it's now UEFA C, then it's UEFA B, which is like non-league, and then the professional leagues is UEFA A and pro license. That's the Premier League, champion, whatever. They were going to put me through my level 1 and 2, but because of COVID, it never happened. So I've paid all that money for something I never really got. Not entirely, but some of it I didn't really get. It's not all their fault, but it is what it is.
It's become a very convenient excuse, hasn't it? To basically take your money and not do anything. COVID, isn't it? Oh, it's COVID. It's COVID.
Pretty much.
It's like, well, we can't reopen the Ashford International train station because of COVID. So, well, hang on a minute. Like, it's gone now, isn't it? So, what?
Hang on, what?
It's just, yeah, I know. The Ashford International train station has been shut for 2.5 years. And it's like, well,
what's the one I go to then when I come see you?
You can't, yeah, sorry. What I mean is it's open in that sense, as in for domestic, but it's not open for the Eurostar. So I have to go into St. Pank when I go and watch Europe, like West Ham away and stuff, which is fine. It's not the end of the world, like it's 40 minutes. But what's annoying is that, again, lots of local businesses have built stuff here because of the international station, because there's got international passengers coming through. And for 2.5 years, it's been shut. And it's just symptomatic of the overall problem. George, I'm anxious that we started talking about PSI and your depression. We've kind of, us two ADHD boys would, gone off on a massive tangent. So, so basically, sorry, I'm sympathetic, and so basically, you felt you had not you felt you had PSI, you had PSI, and you were like just feeling like there's nothing's really worth it, and like you were just
no, pretty much, mate. It was like I was thinking, what is the fucking point? Like, I'm failing at uni. I haven't got any money behind me because I spunked it. I don't spunked it, but I spent a lot of it gambling for my time in Europe. And I've spent, it was worth it because I get to see Leon away. That was 100% worth it. And then I spent a lot of it on getting cameras for this YouTube business that wasn't really taking off. And I'm just thinking, what have I, all right, on paper, I've got a degree and I've had all these cool experiences in Europe watching West Ham. And I was like, what the fuck have I actually got to show for it when I leave this degree? Cool, I've got all these papers saying I've done this. Does it transfer into a job? Probably not.
No, it doesn't transfer into a job, George, because there's no job for what you're doing. And like that's the truth.
I think the masters there would have been, my coaching degree, not so much.
It's hard, mate. Like I say, I'm in the same boat because I feel like I'm much older and like I've now made peace with the fact that what I do is unconventional and it won't ever sort of translate to making money. I am lucky in the sense that I can always go back into teaching if and when I need to, but it's a very, I think you've got to make peace with the fact that if you follow your heart, George, well, firstly, you need to be 100% sure what your heart wants. And once you know, which I'm still not, but you know, you need to be if you're going to put a lot of money in your youth and so on into it. Um, and then I think you need to basically um, just be aware that there is going to be more downside in the sense of it's not going to blow up overnight. Things just don't blow up overnight. I mean, I met a guy in the gym yesterday. He was chatting to me, 360 Timmy, he's called, and he does these like interesting podcasts, which are videos with a camera that no one can see, and it's quite interesting. And he was like, "I've got 300 subscribers," and I was thinking, okay, that's all right, isn't it? But it's all perspective. Like, and he was like, I've grown that since August, and I was like, bro, I wish I had your mindset because my mindset's like, well, I've got 3,000 on Insta, and it's not enough, and I need more, and I need more. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, but
Hard,
like you said, it's about mindset in terms
hard.
of he is very happy with that in terms of it 300 subscribers, unless you are an overnight sensation, I'm not gonna lie, it's quite impressive.
Yeah,
I've got my YouTube channel that's got just over 300, and I've been doing that about 2.5 years. Well, nah, about 18 months now.
yeah.
18 months, 2 years, around that point. And it's got 300 subscribers. Have I taken it fully seriously? At times, yes, especially over the summer break and winter break of uni and whatever. But have I done all I could? Possibly not. So this is what I'm saying. In the next 6 weeks that I've got till Christmas, and then I've got my Christmas break with my family who I love to bits. I am going to work my nuts off in terms of getting this book done and getting this podcast out there, getting these YouTube videos out there, working with you on hopefully doing different side projects and whatever. And between us, mate, I think we're going to smash it. I really do.
That's the spirit, George, and I like that. I like that. My ADHD coach said to me this week that environment is key, right? So
What an ADHD coach. Come
yeah,
again.
yeah, I've
Explain
got.
what that is, please.
Well, she's a coach. She's got ADHD. Who's quite successful. Well, she's pretty successful, I'd say, and she coaches me to help me be less of a twat.
I
I'm not
mean,
sure.
if she's doing that, she's failing at a job because you're the biggest twat. Yeah, whatever. I love you lots.
Well, maybe, yeah, maybe she'll get there in the end. Who knows? But fundamentally, yeah, man, yeah, she's cool. I can't remember my point now. What did she say? She said, yeah, she said environment was key because basically, I was like, I've got this beautiful office, which like it's massive. I've got my guitars, I've got my PlayStation, I've got candles, I've got, you
Anyone that
know,
hasn't seen it, his office is a fucking man cave. It's beautiful.
but I don't do any work in it because, as she said, well, I thought she was going to give me shit about it, but she said, no, that's normal because you've got ADHD, but also because it's your environment where you chill, you chat to your mates, like do podcasts like you, and I play PlayStation. So my brain, every time I sit in there, is going, why are you
Sees it
trying?
as a playtime.
Why are you trying to do work, you donut? The go is so basically, cut a long story short, I now go out to do work, which I'll do after this probably because I need to
Do you know
write a
what?
book.
Thank that person for me because that has just opened my eyes to something that I didn't even know was a fucking problem.
So
Whoever you are, if you listen to this, thank you very much.
Katie Haycock, there you go. So a big thank you from George. She's from No Drama Llamas. So if I give her a shout out, I mean, she's so busy, even I can't get an appointment. So no one's allowed to use her. But that's her company. She's great. And she's amazing. She's really helping. But yeah, it's a massive eye opener, George. So like if you're sitting in your bedroom, procrastinating, doing fuck all like I generally do, and then turn the PlayStation on. She's like, don't beat yourself up. That is normal. And
So hang on, that genuinely that's blown my mind. So when I was at uni and I was living at uni and I was doing uni work in my room at uni, it was fine. The second I get home, see my family, it'd be like, nah, cool.
yeah,
Forget
yeah,
uni.
exactly. Because because you associate your family probably with
Wow.
fun and enjoyment and
Oh
seeing your
my God.
mum and food. Yeah. So if
That's
you're sitting in your
literally
room where
mind
you,
blowing.
because I know for a fact that where you're sitting now is also where you play PlayStation, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
don't
Yeah,
try
my
and sit.
TV is above my head.
So you're not going to be able to do work there, bro. It's not going to happen. So you might as well either go to another room or get a space in the local library. I go to the local library and just sit like a.
You know, it's funny you say that because I've been thinking of doing that.
Mm.
Genuinely, is it Katie? Did you say her name was?
Katie, yeah, Katie, yeah.
Thank you very much. Genuinely, that's blown my mind. Mad.
Good. Well, she's got lots of other insights, but I mean, I'm not going to give them away for free, George. But that is a really helpful one, and I think that I think that this has been a really positive podcast because as much as what I did want to ask George is what you come out of your depression like Icarus rising from or a phoenix from the ashes, like you look and sound happier, right? And
Yeah.
what would you attribute that to?
Basically realizing that what the fuck I was doing wasn't working, both mentally and physically. What the opportunities in front of me that were there, I can now pursue. I've got no worries for the next 6 weeks. All right, it's only 6 weeks, but how much can you do in 6 weeks? You can do fucking loads.
100%. And also, you need to, and this is something that I've learned, is you will not work 9 to 5 or whatever it is every day on your stuff because that is not realistic. And you will do the work that you need to do. And unless, this is like because I don't have a boss and you won't necessarily have a boss. Yeah, you're answering to your mum, and yeah, I'm sort of answering to Tanisha, but like
What do you mean,
you.
sort of? You're completely on to me. She owns you, bro.
Well, yeah, and I quite like that, though, to be honest. But the fundamental thing is like you will not get as much done as you think you'll get done, and that's fine, George, because you're only human, and because you have the other distractions around you, and because you're neurodivergent, and because you face a lot of other challenges, and so on. So it's a case of being very kind to yourself, be very impressed with yourself that you've made this quite forward-thinking decisions, and just know that the answers will come. They will come. They won't come necessarily when you want them to, but as to what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, it will come. I got an email today, right? Basically, from the guy who manages. I'm not going to say names, but he is the managing director of the main product I sell, right? And it was a little bit of a bollocking and also a little bit of a putting me in my place email. But when I read through it, he'd actually given me the golden ticket to sell more stuff in what he's saying. So it's kind of like take your medicine, Trev. But
So it was pretty much do the opposite of what you've been doing, or do these steps to get where you want to be.
Yeah, it was basically he gave me a bit of information about the future of the company and so on that is going to be key for me to be able to explain to other people to increase my revenue. So so old Trev would have gone, fucking hell, he's bollocked me. I'm going to have him. I'm going to send a really shitty email back. But new Trev kind of went, bro, you're probably right. You are probably right. You've been doing this longer than I am. You're older than me. It's your company. And you've
If
given
you
me a bit
older
of
than you, he
information.
must be ancient.
He is older. Yeah, I mean, he's in his 60s, I think. But, fundamentally, you've just got it's perception and it's mindset because you're, like I say, you flipped your mindset. You're free as a bird, George, and you're going to be happy. And I'm convinced about it. It's doing things on a daily basis that make you unhappy, even if you don't realize they make you unhappy, are really damaging. So I'm glad you're out of that. I'm glad you're free. We can meet up and do bits together definitely
This is
before
going to sound like
Christmas.
I'm blowing smoke up your ass, yeah, but I'm not.
I
You
love
are
that.
a big reason for what
Yeah.
I'm doing. You're a big reason.
Thanks, George.
Because
That's very kind.
my uncle rang me today, and he was talking to me, and he goes, "Why did you decide to leave?" He goes, "What happened?" So I explained it, and then I just said, "So I said you've got your own publishing company with your books. You've got the businesses you're doing at the minute, and I've in the 2.5, 3 years I've known you, I've never seen you this happy before. Like you're smashing it in a minute. So
Well,
happy day."
thank you, mate. It's just about sticking on the path. It's about sticking on the path and continuing to believe, even when you're skint and destitute and you think it's all going to fall apart. Just stick to what is in your heart and keep doing what's in your heart. And I think that's what's going to get you through, man. I think that's what gets us all through at the end of the day. So thank you. I appreciate your kind words. You also are an inspiration, George, for a number of reasons. But you're a fucking lovely bloke for a start, and I love it. I think we've both got a habit of sort of telling it as it is. And I think that is
We're both very fucking blunt.
but it's
Very
good.
blunt.
I like that. I like that. I think it's. I think why are we people not honest? You know what I mean? Let's just be honest about things.
I used to. The only time I don't like being completely honest, if I know I'm gonna hurt someone for the sake of hurting them. Like
Yes,
if I'm having a bad day and I'm just like, you're a whatever.
because yeah.
Yeah,
That's not
that's
really
the
honest.
only time I would have. Nah, don't say that. But
Yeah,
if
no.
it's like my opinion or something that can be done better, now you're getting the blunt, brutally honest answer.
Quite right, George. Quite right, mate. Which is it's probably not a good idea to talk about the Mighty Hammers for precisely that reason. Because who
Honestly,
knows?
bluntness, Moyes out, GSB out.
Yeah, quite right. But Luton got a good result. Unlucky not to get the win. Really, I watched that
Oh
game.
mate, honestly, that was fucking heartbreaking.
Your atmosphere
For
was
those of
good,
you that
wasn't
don't
it?
know, I've got two teams. Couldn't give a shit. Say what you want.
Yeah.
I've had it since League Two with Luton, so stick it.
That's the
Uh,
attitude. Fuck them. Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, don't
And
worry.
then we were 3 minutes away from beating Liverpool because Tave Chong's got the best hair in football and he's a fucking baller. And then West Ham are what they have been for the last 18 months,
Yeah.
which is a walking disaster for Europe.
Well, it's still what's so interesting is people who are on the fence about Moyes are beginning to go, even if we do really well, which we won't this season, but even if we won another cup, let's say we won the Carabao Cup, which we won't, but let's say we do, right? Even they're saying now we need to get rid of Moyes because he'll never be able. He's always going to hold us back because of
GSB are stupid though. They're so stupid. Did you see that statement on Talk Sport this week?
No, go on.
Oh, David Moyes' job isn't under an imminent threat, but he probably won't be offered a new deal. Who else did they do that to? Do you remember?
Sam Allardyce.
Sam Allardyce. And when they said to him to that, we were sitting fifth in the league. Yeah, 2 points out the Champions League spots. And where did we finish when he left? Because they told him that at Christmas. Where did we finish? 13th.
Yeah, because I got no motivation.
There is no motivation there for him to do well. Do I want him gone? Yes. Is it the right way to do it? No. You keep your mouth shut to the end of the season if you're going to keep him. And if you're not, you sack him. It ain't fucking hard. Honestly, can we not talk about West Ham?
I know. It's the wrong podcast. I don't know. The last thing I'm going to say is, I don't know if you know, but David Moyes has been offered a couple of jobs, one at UEFA. So I think he's going to go into the season.
UEFA and going upstairs to West Ham to be the.
No, not in West Ham. I think somewhere else. But anyway, it's good because I think that I think they've got eyes on other people. Anyway, wrong audience. Let's say goodbye to George because we need to go and get on. George has got to plan the rest of his life. As do I, really. I've got to go out. It's so rainy and horrible. Have you seen the weather? It's just
it's fucking grim.
But hey ho, if I don't, things like you say, if I stay here, I'll start pretending to do some work, and then the PlayStation will just go on. So I've got to keep move my environment. But anyway, man, I love you lots. Take it easy. I'll speak to you soon.
You too. I've loved being on it, and hopefully do it again.
Can everyone please, because I'm not very professional or corporate, but could everyone please go and follow George's YouTube thingy? What's it called?
You beautiful man, George Barnard. The George Barnard podcast is my podcast, and then YouTube is George Barnard Sports and Media. If you love football, more specifically Luton and West Ham, but just football in general, because there's football videos on there. It's basically me being angry at my teams being shit this season and running the camera.
Yeah, man, it is. But and there's also George's a close up of George's face in various states of honestly, emotion. It's very amusing from that purpose. If you're not into football,
but if you don't know, the podcast I do, George Barnard podcast, my co-host is this man here. So happy days.
Yeah, we need to do that, George. I thought we've got it penciled in for this week.
If you like the trio, the double act of Dumb and Dumber, then yeah, you can listen to us some more.
And if you want to hear George swear and me probably more about football, then go and listen to that.
Honestly, if you love football, and I'm talking love football, my channel is the one for you.
We should do a podcast about football, George, this week because I'm quite
100%. I need to figure out what we're going to do. So
we're going to moan about West Ham and talk about how Luton are going to stay up, even though they've got a weird model. That's it. That's podcast done. Bosh.
Go on. Sweet on that.
But yeah. Anyway,
we should be back in the text.